episode number. This is part of the cold open, by the way.
Sweet. I feel very cold.
I'm sorry. What can we do for you?
I actually am not. I'm warmed by the good feeling of a new house.
There you go. I keep turning off my air conditioner and then turning it back on. Because it just keeps getting warm again. And I am a cold-blooded being. I need things to be cold. Or rather, I'm a warm-blooded being, and I need things to be cold.
I'm similar. I like to be cool.
I also tend to run hot.
So I think the topics could be reaching out. Tristan, you have a game story, and then we could just check in with each other.
Reaching out, hands touching hands.
Pillow of solitude. No touchy.
Touching me. Touching you.
Sweet Caroline.
Ba ba ba.
So
No
good.
touchy.
So good. So good.
Alright, did you have anything you had wanted to add about Valinaria or Valinaria?
I don't think there was anything left to add from
Valinaria.
last week since we didn't get to play. Valinaria?
I think so.
Yeah, right.
We need to have a pronunciation guide.
Auravalia.
It's Valinaria because it's not supposed to sound like Anaria.
Right. Even though the language is Anarian.
The language is Anarian, but Valinaria is supposed to sound a little bit different.
Okay. I mean, your world. I'm just trying to pronounce it the way you want.
Like, the name for the continent could be derivative from the same root word as Anaria, but it's going to be pronounced a little bit differently.
Okay.
This is important.
Sorry. Very tired lately.
Me
Got
too.
some new followers lately. That's nice.
Yeah, I noticed
Them in my
that.
mini feed. Oboe, Armin, someone is in between them, but I can't tell who it is. Rogue. Rogue was only 2 months ago? These seem like the dates are wrong. But okay. Alright, so, I'm good, you good? Just open cold enough for you?
Yeah, this old open is so cold, it's like space.
Space! What do we
Space.
do in space?
Space.
Sposs.
Wait. This is the Player 4 Podcast. Join us each week as we talk about video games, entertainment, and pop culture, and bring in guests from the Rooster Teeth community. Player 4 has entered the game. Hello and welcome to the Player 4 Podcast. I'm your host, Tristan, aka Shagrazier.
I'm Alex, aka Chaos Black 21.
And I'm Joseph, aka J Dunlap.
And he's doing the midnight snack voice.
Welcome to the Midnight Snack.
It's not midnight.
So,
I
Midnight
also
somewhere.
ate dinner. I can't have a snack yet.
Remember when we used to do this midnight snack, Alex?
like 5.5 years ago.
It was delicious.
Should do a midnight snack ASMR episode. That'll get us lots of follows.
Yeah.
I always feel super professional when I tell the bot to start playing the opening because it's the same bot that I use for my D&D game. And for the D&D game, I need to set its volume down to like 50% so that it's quieter than all the people talking. And then I forget that until I've hit enter and it's already started playing, and I have to quickly go over there and set it up to 100 so that I can actually hear it. So it's always never right. It's always bad, and I feel bad about it.
I'm sorry you feel bad, Tristan.
So, self-care day. How are you guys doing?
I'm taking care of myself.
What have you been doing lately, Joseph?
I want to know how Alex is too. How's Alex?
I'm doing all right. Taking it day by day.
How's Tristan?
Tristan's doing okay. Mostly. Just like forgetting all the things I have to do at work, and then getting reminded, and then forgetting again.
I was hoping that was, and then doing it.
Oh, eventually.
Hmm.
I had
I've had an interesting week and a half, guys.
Oh yeah? This has been the move-in week and a half?
Well, no. 2 weeks ago was my birthday, and that was the first day that we didn't have to be moving anything, so we were fully moved in.
Happy birthday.
Oh,
Happy birthday.
well,
Congratulations.
I think you guys already told me all those things,
We
but
did.
thank you again. I'm 37.
You're old.
Yeah, I know. This summer, I felt more my age and looked more my age than I have in years, like since I was a teenager. I don't know. A lot about it was like stress of the pandemic and the stress of the house buying situation that started like 3 months ago or more. The stress of my teaching load is much larger than it's ever been. Like one professor, tongue in cheek, said, "Leave some hours for the rest of us." And anyway,
I mean, did he say that because you were choosing your hours, or did you get assigned all of those courses?
he was joking, obviously, because the rest of them have pretty light loads. But I'm teaching classes none of them really want to teach and can teach.
I just worry
So
that joke gets
it's
a lot less funny if you don't have a choice about it.
yeah. I mean, I've known him for 17 years. It's funny to me.
Alright.
It's what happens when the piano professor retires. So anyway, this past week was a whole situation I don't want to get too much into, but because of one person um, getting the Rona, most of my students last week were rightly so in quarantine, and they're slowly getting let back out of their cages. So last week I was teaching online most of my courses because I had more students that were being isolated just for the time being than not, and the end result was great. They didn't get sick, so that's important. And what happened was we were trying to use Zoom, and Zoom sucks. So on Tuesday of last week, I said to my 11 a.m. class, the sophomores, "What do you guys think about me starting a Discord? Because it doesn't suck. I can do screen share, and then you guys can move my volume up and down." Whereas what was happening, I was teaching through Zoom, and the kids were in the next room because I kept them home with me that week. And I was here at the computer, and I had a piano in front of me. If I played the piano, the microphone would turn up, and then it would turn up for the piano, but then I would talk, and I would be really quiet. Then the kids would be in the next room, and it would catch them, and the volume was going way up and down. So I was like, "What do you guys think about me getting a Discord?" They didn't answer. So then the next day, we're trying to have class through Zoom, and then they go, "You know what we need? We need a Discord."
Wow, that's a great idea, kids. Thanks.
Yeah, great idea. So I made a Discord. It has two purposes. One is to keep up with my alumni that I don't see anymore, like Timmy, who was on the podcast one time. We talked about Elder Scrolls,
Yes, I remember that.
and also I have like some channels for announcements and coordinating classes. This is to eliminate the need for constantly communicating via the school email, the Facebook group that we use for announcements, the group chat that we use through Facebook Messenger that's for real time, like, "Hey, just like to clarify, we're in this room today," and stuff like that. And then also sometimes if they sent a file through the school email, if it was a file attachment, it didn't always arrive. So then they'd have to send me an email to my Gmail account. So like all of that, we don't in Zoom, we don't need that anymore because we can just use the Discord for all those things. So
Discord's
the
nice.
week went from not great to suddenly like not that bad. Like I was able to teach through Discord. I've been teaching from my classroom or my office with in-person students and also people on Discord looking at a screen share of the textbook because I have a PDF of it. And then also we did a game night Saturday night where a few of us played some Jackbox. Try to keep it as PG as possible, obviously.
That always goes well.
So not the P4 way of playing Jackbox.
You know, I feel like there's a couple people in particular who are definitely to blame for those games going the way they go.
Caleb. So I've been doing pretty well now. My students were isolated from me for like over a week, and getting to talk to them online, getting to get back in touch with alumni like Timmy, and that's been good. And also on Sunday, a freshman and I, one of the few people who weren't in quarantine, we coordinated together to get care packages to all 12 students who were quarantined. So we spent all day working on that. I went to Walmart around noon, and then she was making custom little cards with watercolor. And then we met up at around 5. About 15 to 7, I took the stuff to the guys, and she took the stuff to the girls, and they were all really happy because they got coloring books and snacks, their favorite snacks, as well as some chocolate snacks and fuzzy socks and a custom card with a pun in it that was based off whatever was in the picture, and then also a bouquet for the girls. So that made their week.
Nice.
Apparently, it was really cute because all the girls in the girls' dorm are put on the 4th floor, like the top floor. In fact, one of them is like, "I can almost see your house from here."
Not creepy.
No, it's fine. When the care packages were being delivered by the student who was helping me out, all the girls on the 4th floor that were part of that group opened their doors and stood in their doorways and chit-chatted for like 2 hours. It was really cute. I wasn't there, but I heard about it.
It is
And then
so
I made sure that
troubling.
there was one student who wasn't feeling well. I made sure she got some chamomile.
It is so troubling to me that they're populating the dorms.
It's been working out great. Actually, our amount of cases is as low as it's ever been all semester. We're down to a very, very small amount. I won't say the number, but it's very, very small, and we might be down to like 1 very soon. So that's really awesome.
You know how you get to 0? You don't put people next to each other.
What gets us down to 0 is me not being able to buy my house and pay my bills and eat. So I'm split on that issue. But anyway, that's a self-care bit there, where the students were really kind of down. I had one student who took a day off from class. I checked on a student and said, "Hey, if you need to scream into the void, I'm here. You can talk to me." And they were like, "Yeah, I'm really struggling, and my sleep schedule is all flipped." So being there for each other is important. So speaking of that, I want to be there for you guys. I want to know how you've been doing, other than like the little summaries I got from you.
Sleep schedule's all over the place. Literally, constantly, all over the place. Sometimes, I fall asleep around midnight. Sometimes I don't fall asleep till like 6 a.m. But I have to work every day. Well, yeah, much every day. And sometimes I just don't feel like I can get anything done. Sometimes I can't find the motivation to get anything done.
Yeah, I feel that. But you still got us.
Yep.
Yeah, we still play Halo.
Halo's good. Glad
D&D.
we play Halo. Dude, last week I had 0 out of 3 games of D&D because they all canceled, and it was a very, very tough week because of that. I need my D&D.
For what it's worth, I did buy Among Us,
Oh, did you?
so I can play it on the computer.
Well then, I think Nicole will be very happy to have more people to play with her, and I can drop in and play. But yeah, it's definitely... Have you tried it yet?
I went around murdering NPCs for a little bit.
Oh, okay. I didn't know there was a single player version.
Yeah, it's a training thing where you just like practice doing objectives and you practice being the imposter.
Yeah. I'm very bad at being the imposter, but that's fine. I don't love being the imposter. I played a few rounds with Nicole, Derek, and Thomas, and Derek was made the imposter like 6 times.
Oh my god.
So I'm not like crazy about the idea of playing it because I hate arguments. You already know that, but I love my friends and I love my students, so I got it. So if anyone's like, "Hey, we really want you to play with us," then I've got it, so I can play.
I can play.
So I'm bringing that up because I don't have anything else I can play with you, Tristan.
Yeah, it's always tough, finding something to get everybody on to play, because it's got to be something that everybody can afford and that is simple to set up and just go and have fun in. Which is why I've liked the Sea of Thieves, just because you can just start the game and go sailing. The problem with Sea of Thieves is that other players are a frustration.
Other players outside your party.
Yeah. You're sitting there, you're having a good time.
A-holes.
Yeah.
We'll have to find some games we can play as a group, like really, really casual games that we can play together. That'll be fun. Because now I have good internet, so.
I mean, there was a point in time where Malachi and I went through and bought a bunch of stuff on one of the Steam sales for playing for the podcast. So we bought like golf games and I remember we tried to find a lot of those like very simple like just us kind of sports games where it's not too hectic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I remember I got Golf with Friends to try to play with you guys, and I couldn't do it.
Well, yeah, we should do
better internet.
No, probably just a better setup.
What we should do when everything calms down, and people stop spreading coronavirus, like most of the world has done, then you guys just come over to my house and we play video games on my projector. Like we can do a crash party on Burnout. Getting retro.
My friend, I have a friend in Kansas City who has a projector instead of a TV, so we played games on his projector one time. It's pretty cool.
When I moved, I was kind of concerned about the fact that I was giving up a really large blank wall. So we managed to make it work here by putting a white blanket over Sarah's doorway that she likes to go under. And that way I can project onto the wall. Because her door is like right there where the subtitles go. It's not like right in the middle of the wall, but it almost is. So that's fun. I downloaded that thing that Tim Leftwich, who's actually a person in the RT community, he made a cut during the quarantine that was based off of someone making a spreadsheet of a full chronological order of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So he actually put it together.
Yeah, scene by scene.
It's like 47 hours long.
Yeah.
So I downloaded it, naturally, when I had good internet. And Michael and I have watched up to... We're almost done with Iron Man 2. We stopped right around when it threw in the opening parts of Thor, because those overlap.
Right.
Apparently, like, the Incredible Hulk is still going on.
Oh my god.
Like, it has the opening bit.
Is this the Edward Norton Incredible Hulk?
Yes.
Oh
yes.
Gosh, no.
We're still in the middle of Incredible Hulk while going through Iron Man 2 and Thor.
And then you're finally going to get to the end of Edward Norton Incredible Hulk, and it's going to be Mark Ruffalo.
I mean, I would have been fine without it being there, but I get like it does have the Tony Stark stuff at the end, and also they do reference like footage of the Hulk fighting in Avengers. So like, okay, I guess, and plus, I might as well see it one time. It's still kind of interesting. Michael's like, "Oh, by the way, the Hulk's in a forest now." Like, okay, thanks. Because I walked away for a little bit.
The Hulk's in a forest. No.
Oh, that's what I was making the care packages. He's like, "Oh yeah, Hulk's in the forest," and I just finished Iron Man. So, Alex, what have you been up to?
Not too much. Playing games, playing D&D, playing Halo with Tristan. Going to work, trying to stay safe as best I can. Masking up all the time. Yeah. That's pretty much what I've done since the very beginning. I haven't done anything, haven't changed anything.
All right. Well, I want you guys to take time for yourselves. Don't become so busy that you're not, I don't know, alone with your thoughts sometimes. Kristen, I would like to know next week that you did something to improve your situation.
That sounds like homework.
I mean, I am a teacher, but like, I don't like knowing that you're struggling like that. You know?
Yeah, well. It's just been steadily increasing. I don't see it going the other direction anytime soon.
Well, you know that you can reach out to us. Even if you don't even want us to know that's what you're doing. Just like send a stupid meme.
I'm getting by life-wise fine. It's just focusing on work has become harder and harder.
You'll get there. It'll work out.
I don't feel like I'm gonna die. I just have to stay inside. I stay in my apartment 98% of my time. You know, I go out to get, the occasional grocery. I might schedule a flu shot for Friday, which I have to go around the block to get at the CVS. I'm going to schedule it right in the middle of the day, hoping that everybody else will be at work and not in the CVS. But not like the last time I went to CVS, I went at 3:30 in the morning because I was sure no one would be there then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got my flu shot already.
I probably should. It's free.
It's one of those things that I think that everybody should get every time. There's not really a reason not to.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Just laziness.
Yeah, mine is fear. Well, fear. I'm higher risk because of asthma, so if I were to get the coronavirus, it would be a lot worse for me. And the problem is, what I find the real problem lately is that everybody talks about mortality rate, which is incredibly high. Full stop. It's incredibly high for a virus.
It is, I think I saw the other day, it is actually higher than the flu now, like the amount of deaths compared to the flu.
It has always been higher than the flu.
Well, I know, but it was like someone was saying, I know.
The flu has like a 0.01 mortality rate. The coronavirus has like a 4% mortality rate. It's like 400 times more deadly.
Well, yeah, no, I'm saying like the number, like not the actual percentage.
But the point that I'm going for is that we need to know, we need to understand, we need people to stop talking about, well, you have XX chance of surviving it, so why worry about it? It's like 60, somewhere between 40 and 60% of the people who get it and survive are left permanently damaged by it. whether it's heart damage or lung damage or other internal organ damage. It is permanent chronic illness from then on.
Yeah, they've never played D&D. If I say, can I roll this D20? On a 20, you die. On a 10 to 19, you're seriously maimed for the rest of your life. They would say no.
So, that's another thing that I have a problem with how it's being talked about in public. People are like, oh, it's not so bad. You've got like a 10% chance you'll die or whatever. It's like, it's not about dying. Even if you survive, you're wrecked for life.
Yeah.
Alex.
I mean, it's almost like Russian. It's essentially Russian roulette. You have one bullet in the gun. It's like, yeah, you have a 5 in 6 chance of living, but do you want to take that one chance?
That conversation actually happened in my office today. A student came in and was joking about Russian roulette, like, perfectly safe, says 5 out of 6 people.
Yeah. So it's just really really troubling. So yeah, that's the idea with self-care. Is just, be honest about what you're struggling with, and that you have some, and if you don't, find a support network, whether it's family or friends. If it's just talking on the phone or over the internet, just to get through this thing. Make sure that you have at least one person in your life that you can talk to.
Absolutely, and we're willing to be those people. Speaking of that, Tristan, are you still feeling like talking about the other thing? Because I can segue into that.
I think we've got a good segue, yeah. The topic being self-care and needing to talk to other people to support yourself. The Therefore podcast is very much aware and abreast of situations within the communities that we are part of. One in particular has recently experienced a very devastating loss. A lot of people would consider it as a lot of very troubling information about particular individuals came to light. And we know that, there are going to be people out there who hear it and don't believe it, or hear it and try to come to their defense anyway. And what we want to say to them is, it's time to start listening to the victims here. The people accused have admitted their guilt, and they need no defense from us. And to the other people who I'm sure know that what is being said is true and are hurt by it because this is a person that they have admired, looked up to, idolized, thought was funny, thought might be cool. Anywhere in the range of emotions you can have about a internet personality. Just know that you're not alone, but finding this out and removing these people from our communities and helping their victims is the best thing that we can do. And to that end, if you are a person who has ever found themselves in an abusive relationship on the low end of a power imbalance, and you don't know who to talk to or where to turn, we can be resources. There are any number of resources. Lots of people are coming forward and saying, hey, come talk to me. I've been a victim of this. I know what you're going through. We, for the most part, haven't been victims of this. Say that up front. But we are understanding, and we want to be available to anybody who might feel like they need someone to talk to and don't know where else to go about that.
I do want to add something to that.
Please do.
It's something I'm familiar with, having been an educator for now, going into my 6th year, which is confidentiality. That we are not the type to take anything you open up to us about and then even spread it amongst each other. There are things that students have confided into me about that will go with me to my grave. The point is not for us to say, tell us things so we can go tell other people. It's more, if you need someone to talk to, we are safe.
That's a good point. Thank you. There are those in the community who have come forward to say if you have an experience like this and you want it talked about, but you don't want to be the one to talk about it, they will advocate for you. And I'm really glad to see that there are those kinds of people coming forward out of this. And it's especially important that a lot of those people were victims themselves, so they know exactly, what's up. I saw someone today who was a victim of the current events, who said that they've been taking in stories from other victims who just don't want their name out in public, don't want to receive the kind of abuse. And that's another troubling thing, is that people who come forward get abused by those who don't want to accept the reality of what's going on. But those people have been able to go to that person with their stories, and that person has shared them, saying in a statement today that, I would rather you be healthy and talking to someone and have your story out there and take the abuse for you than for you to stay quiet and alone and in pain. So know that those people are out there too.
I don't have anything to add. I agree.
I think it was beautiful.
It was. I wouldn't change a thing. Did we just reference like the first 6 months of our podcast, a running joke that then died?
I mean, they never really die.
Right. No one's ever really dead.
But yeah, the jokes like that, they'll keep coming up every now and then whenever they feel relevant. They never really die.
I got to tell Alex though that the other day I was singing his Player 4 podcast jingle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was.
Player 4 podcast. Yeah, we talk about movies, shows, and games, and lots of other ish.
Beep.
Speaking of games, we are still playing games. Video games, tabletop games. I think Joseph's still playing card games.
Oh, I am Platinum Tier 3 in Magic Arena right now for the month.
There you go. Joseph is great at card games, as a matter of fact. I did see you mention the other day that you had signed on to Arena and then signed off immediately after losing 2 games straight.
It gets frustrating sometimes. Sometimes you're doing well in a game, and then a card comes down and you go, why did they print that? And other times, you play really well, get really close, and then you draw 5 lands in a row, and then you lose.
Oof.
And I had a bunch of those this week, but then today and yesterday were actually really good, and I bumped up a few tiers.
Nice.
Very nice. I got back into an old game, old, air quotes, although I guess it came out in 2016, so by gaming standards that makes it pretty old, as one of my other Discords started lighting up about it a lot, and I said, oh, maybe I should jump back into that and see how the game's been improved. Back in 2016, No Man's Sky was going to be a space exploration Minecraft base builder kind of sim game that was really hyped up for just how vast the universe was going to be and how much there was going to be to do and all how cool the different systems were going to be. And then when it released, it delivered on almost none of those things. So it got panned really bad. And ever since then, the creators have been playing catch-up, trying to deliver on what they originally promised, and 4 years later, they're actually getting pretty close. I jumped back into it the other day. I can go and they've set up a part of the storyline that takes you to an optional hub where you can interface with other players in the game at any time. It's like a little instanced thing that you can just join if you want to find other players, and then you can run missions, just team up with whoever's there and run missions out of it. So that was great, because when the game first released, you couldn't even interact with other people. Even if you managed to find them on a planet, you couldn't see them. It was bad. So now there's that. You can just give people a code and they can drop onto your world anytime. And the base building is finally a thing, which wasn't when I first started playing it. You couldn't do any construction. So I've been having fun. A lot of the systems got improved, and that was fun to jump back into.
So you can build a base now, like on a planet, and then go off onto other planets, but still be able to go back to that base.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And especially if you leave, there are particular things that you can build, and you can stick them on the ground, and they'll be marked, so that, like, no matter where you are, you can see the marker for it. But I find that the most useful thing to do, like, before I'll consider something a base, is that it has to have any kind of power generator and a portal device, because as long as it's got a portal there, then you can instantly teleport to it no matter where you are. And the nice thing is that you can portal from, like, so every space station in the game has a portal on it. And once you have been inside a space station, you have that location locked in. So if you go to any other portal in the game, that appears as one of the locations that you can portal to. And they updated it so that now when you portal, your ship also inexplicably goes with you. It used to be you could go through a portal and be stuck without your ship.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
That would not be convenient at all.
Like, I didn't mind. When I went through the portal the first time after rejoining into the game, I didn't expect my ship to be there, but I knew I could come back through the portal. In any event, what I was saying was, even if your portal is unpowered, if you go to, like, a space station, like, oh, I want to go back to that base that I haven't been to in 3 years, but I know I built a portal there, you can come out of the portal even though it is unpowered at the time. You just, if you want to go back through it, you have to power it up. So that's nice. Like, you can go to unpowered bases, and that's really cool. Because once you're there, then you can figure out how you get power and make it a functioning base.
Cool.
So I have, like, 3 bases. I have, like, 3 bases with portals that are hooked up to just, like, a regular, like, reactor that you have to, like, feed some material into, and then it'll run for a couple minutes, just long enough to get the portal open and leave. And then I have, like, my main base where it's got, like, 27 solar collectors and a bunch of batteries powering everything.
Awesome. No Man's Sky coming and,
making a comeback.
It's delivering more and more now on what it was supposed to all these years.
Yeah, don't give them too much credit. They still flubbed it the first time.
Yeah.
But it's nice that they're getting better.
I feel like No Man's Sky was kind of the start to games kind of over delivering or like
over promising.
Start over promising on what they were going to deliver and then failed.
It was, I would say, it was very much not the start, but it is the most poignant example. Because games have always overpromised and underdelivered. That's just how it is. Like, it never plays out quite the way they say it will. That's just how the industry runs. But then there were a bunch of games prior to No Man's Sky, like, for example, Mass Effect, which got away with selling you a portion of the game and then DLCing the rest of the game. And so I think somebody thought, well, we can promise as much as we want because we have an infinite timeline on which to deliver. Because we can just keep adding DLCs later, and they really got bit in the butt when they tried to do this. I think that the deliver a portion of a game and then DLC the rest, especially if it's paid DLC, is a very bad business model, and I do not like it. Now, the nice thing is that No Man's Sky got their butts kicked so hard that everything since then has been free. Like, all the updates to the game have been included with your original purchase. So I haven't had to spend any more on it.
That's kind of what Fallout 76, which was another one that did that. They have the free update so that they actually brought NPCs into the world And so far, yeah, since I purchased the game way back when it first came out, I haven't had to purchase anything else.
I still am really impressed that they thought they could have an MMO that functioned without NPCs.
I mean, it did. It's just, yeah, the world was very empty. Which, I mean, to be fair, it's kind of, I think, was kind of what they were trying to go for. Was that, hey, you are the first people to come out of the vault. But it didn't work in their favor because one of the great things about Fallout is the NPCs.
Mm.
Interesting question.
Yeah.
If I got No Man's Sky, would I be able to find your bases?
Yeah, if I gave you the planet coordinates and we could I believe that we would be able to like meet up once you just have to push the storyline enough that it gives you that hub, which does require a little bit of like play to get there. But I don't know exactly how much because it was added after I'd already played enough to have it. So it just kind of was there for me. So I don't know exactly how much play is needed to get it. I don't know how much No Man's Sky costs right now.
Well, I'm looking for things to play, and I've got a really good computer that could run it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, No Man's Sky is super laid back. I can give you that. It's very laid back.
that's what I'm looking for these days. It's just laid back, casual games, unless I'm wrecking noobs in Magic.
But yeah, what I can tell you about it is that you'll be in just a randomly chosen sector, any number of millions of light years from the galactic core, and you'll have your procedurally generated planets all around you. So, I think the best way to get to somebody is either to join on them, because you can just friend and join on them. At least you could before. The next one is to use that hub, and then like another good way is there are discoverable like portal rings, like Sirius Stargates, but that requires a lot more. Like, I've found one Sirius Stargate, but I can't even really use it because it won't let me plug in glyphs, and you have to like finish a major portion of the game before you have access to all the glyphs. At least that's what I've been told by my Discord, is that those Stargates are like the handiest thing for getting around to other people's worlds, but you really need to you have to like finish like the major portion of the story. You have to finish a major portion of the storyline before you get access to them.
I wouldn't be opposed to just going through the storyline anyway.
Yeah, the storyline's pretty good.
I would want to try to find it on sale first.
Yeah.
Two quick things before we leave. One is I wanted to link in chat the Killian Experience, because he did a No Man's Sky video, and if you've never watched his videos, he is hilarious. Not like, oh, he's a funny sketch guy. His comedy's kind of weird. No, he'll take a video game and he'll make a video in it where the premise is he's playing it and he's got this goal, but the longer it goes, the more ridiculous the video gets, until you realize he's making everything up. And it's really, really funny. The other thing is a story about someone I beat in Magic recently that just made me laugh really hard, because the deck I'm playing is called Rogue's Tempo. Tempo is you want to stay ahead. So you play a threat, and then you kill their stuff, and you keep hitting them with your threats. So Rogue's main... they have a strategy, which is most of them fly, and when they attack or when they deal combat damage to your opponent, you take parts of their library, like several cards at a time, and put it in their graveyard. And then once they hit a certain amount, which is 8, then your rogues get a bonus. Several of them give the bonus to themselves, and one of them gives the bonus to all of them. And then they just keep hitting for more. And then they have a counter spell and a kill spell in one card that just counts how many cards are in the opponent's graveyard. And as long as you're trying to counter or kill something with a cost of that or less, then you can. So you turn that card on, and then you're unbeatable. And then also most of them have flash, which means you can play them at the end of your opponent's turn if you want to. So, and then they can attack like moments later. So in this story, I'm playing rogues and my opponent's on rogues. So they open up their turn one, and it's the typical turn one where they play the one drop, like a 1-mana creature that each time you play a rogue, you take 2 cards away from your opponent's library and then just put it in their graveyard. And I have that as my opening play, but I played a tap land my first turn. So then it goes back to me, and I play a second land. I play a random anything, knowing that they have mana up for a counterspell with their Drown in the Loch, which is counting how many cards are in my graveyard. I just play a random 1-drop going, they're going to counter this. They're feeling awesome right now. So they counter it. And then I play my dump things in their graveyard guy that's identical to theirs, and then they concede. Because I baited the counterspell.
You baited the counterspell.
Anyway, that's my story. I know. Big whoop.
I want, if I'm allowed, a couple of minutes to gush about the last session of D&D for me.
I don't know.
Gosh, Tristan.
Alright, fine, I won't, Alex.
Gosh, Tristan.
I don't usually plot out sessions of my D&D because the story, however it's going, is driven by the players. So, like, every now and then I'll know the way they're going. It'll be a good push to the story if I have this NPC doing this and they're going to meet them under these circumstances. Like, I can kind of see those and have those moments kind of prepared, but it's very rare that I will prep an entire session of D&D. And this one I liked a lot. I got together with Sam, who plays the wizard for the group, and I told him I want something that will be... I want to kill as many birds with this one stone as possible. I want them to learn something about the world. I want them to learn something about your character. I want them to learn, and I want them to have a fight, and I want it to be interesting. What can we do? And I was aware already that he had been, because I had asked him to start thinking about one custom spell that his character would want to make. Just like, you guys are like, I think they had hit level 11 when I asked him to do this. And they're all moving toward level 13 now. Said, you're a wizard. Every wizard eventually figures out what they want to do with magic and comes up with a custom spell. He tells me, I want to make a custom spell that lets me cast a ritual in an area and see events that happened at a specific period of time in that spot. And he had taken the inspiration for some of the details of it from the Lich boss that I had them facing a year ago, who different parts of her lair were like recreations of her memories on loop that the players could interact with. He's like, I want it to be something like that, but be able to go to a place and designate a time period and then do that same thing, basically. And we talked about what spells would be needed and how it would function and all that. And I said, you've been going and getting these spells, you've been going and getting these materials, but the other players in the group haven't really taken any notice or interest of what's going on. I think that, like, you're at this point getting close enough on this spell that they should have some kind of knowledge or reason to know that you're doing something interesting. So I said, how about you're stopping at this inn for the night anyway. Your character doesn't sleep. We'll have you working on the spell, and it's going to affect them and give you show you that you're getting close to your solution to making this spell happen, and show them in a way that they can't accidentally ignore that you're doing something interesting. And so all the players went to sleep, and I told them, you wake up, you feel like you've had a long rest, but you look around and you don't recognize your surroundings. And all of the player characters were dressed in school uniforms for wizarding school and sitting in a classroom being lectured at by their friend, the wizard, who looks mysteriously younger. And they got to take part in an event from this character's life from 100 years earlier, in another place entirely. So the players got to see and experience what things were like on this distant island where the Arcane University, the Marble City, is. And they got to ask questions and learn about the wizard a little bit, learn some things about him they didn't know, like the fact that his name is Lair O. Mendes, apparently.
Oh my gosh.
They've just been calling him Lair Mendes.
Yeah, because that's what we were introduced. He is introduced as, so we're just like, oh, he has no last name. It's just Lair Mendes.
He's just Lair Mendes. Now he's Lair O. Mendes.
Oh my, no.
The player said that's how it is.
He's gonna have a bad time with that.
Is he Irish?
That has been a joke, but he says that the O stands for another really long name that he's still coming up with because he wants it to be long and funny.
It really was a travesty too that Riken got put in robes instead of armor.
It was. You were just a strapping young lad in your school robes.
And he couldn't understand anything that was in the lesson because Lair Mendes didn't use the one phrase that he taught him.
You have nice hair.
You have nice hair, which equals bitch in Elvish.
I have a question.
Okay.
First off, I like this premise. It reminds me of an episode of Star Trek where Picard is living out the life of someone on a planet that died hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
But also, when they found themselves, they woke up and they were in school uniforms and they were in school. Did any of them check to see if they were wearing pants?
None of them checked to make sure they were wearing pants, but I mean, as you know, the robe lets the magic flow more freely. Pants are too restricting.
Yeah, exactly.
And then after they'd had a chance to kind of take in their surroundings and start asking questions of this Professor Mendes, who doesn't seem to recognize any of them. But they all recognize each other, and they know that something's weird. They're like pointing at him, like, you cast a spell in the future that brought us here. And the guy standing there in the dream world is just like, that's interesting. Tell me more about it. They're like, we don't know. And then
no. What about the Libyans?
The what?
The Libyans.
The Libyans. The least well-aging joke in that movie. But yes, luckily nobody got hunted down by people from whom they had stolen plutonium. But once, all of the relevant information had been exchanged and the fun of, holy crap, we're living out a moment in our friend's life that none of us experienced before or knew anything about. This is interesting. It was, time for the fun. The school is, of course, full of mages, always experimenting and learning magic in a lot of cases for the first time, so, bad things happen from time to time, mistakes, accidents, catastrophic events, and so the party got pulled into one of the students had created or summoned a golem that was now wreaking havoc on one of the courtyards. And being that the party were the only ones with martial weapons, and these golems are resistant to lots of different kinds of magic, it was asked of them that they help. And when they looked at themselves again, they all had their armor and weapons on, unlike a minute before, and nobody else seemed to think this was weird. So they went and fought a big golem, which a couple of people in the party favor fire, and this golem healed from fire.
Oh no.
So that was fun. They absolutely wrecked that golem. Saved the school.
I really like your idea for what you did.
Thank you.
And it reminds me of the bare bones of the ending of my campaign that's already in the back of my head that I know you're going to love.
Well, now
not
I'm
really
excited.
The ending, but the climax.
I was about to make a bad joke. All right. then I'm excited to climax.
Oh my god.
I made a different bad joke.
It's not the end of the campaign, and like a lot of the details will be dependent on what you guys end up doing because I'm not BioWare. But it's definitely like the height of the campaign, and then from there you get to sort of things get to relax a little bit.
Yeah, branched storytelling is important. That like you can have ideas for this, that, and the other thing, but if the players do something that now invalidates one of those plans, come up with a new one.
No, you'll like this though. It'll be fun. It's a long time in the future.
Well,
And no, that is not a hint about what it is.
Hopefully we'll get to play tomorrow.
Hopefully. Hey Malachi, what's it time for?
Time to get the flip out of here.
Wow, Malachi, you've been here the whole time?
Yeah, I was just tired.
Oh, man.
Good night, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Hashtag good night.
Good night.
Midnight snack. Mm.
Ooh.
Oh, the climax.
Now I've got Gunter in my head.